So the Public Safety Beer and Regulated Beverages meeting will come to order. We have a resolution from Councilman O'Connell, who is here. That is RS 2018-999. Exempts Germantown Bar located at 1318 6th Avenue North from the minimum distance requirement for obtaining a beer permit.
Glad to be back with you all this week. We had deferred this from our January meeting. We're ready to run it now. Curtis Harrington is here representing one of the communities in Germantown, and I believe we'll see both sides tonight at a public hearing. I do expect there will be a little bit of opposition, but I think the hearing is ready to proceed. And I really do honor the work of both the neighborhood and the establishment and work in good faith to get us at a point where we can run it. So
I saw a letter from the HOA.
Yeah, so I would say with this committee's approval, we'll be ready to open the public hearing on the floor tonight and hear the resolution. So I would encourage you all to support it in committee.
Second.
All for?
Aye. Aye.
Any against?
Yeah, we did have, I'm sorry, I've got a helpful tip from the back row here that this did have an amendment. One of the things that Curtis has worked on with the community is actually attaching the provisions of the agreement that was executed between the nearby HOA and the establishment in question. It's going to be a kind of an attachment to the resolution itself. So I need to, if y'all could move that amendment, that would also be helpful.
So moved. Second.
All for?
Aye.
Any against?
And I'll move the motion, or move the legislation as amended.
As amended? Anybody want to second that?
I will.
All for?
Aye.
Any against? All right, thank you, Councilman O'Connell. Resolution RS 2018-1026, Vircher, Roberts, and others, accepts a donation from E3 Construction Services in honor of Jadante Thompson to Metro, the use and benefit of the Metro Nashville Police Department's North Precinct.
Bicycles.
So moved.
Second.
All for?
Yep.
Any against?
Nope.
Resolution RS 2018-1037, Rosenberg, requests that the Office of Emergency Management determine the feasibility of upgrading outdoor early warning sirens, study options for siren activation, and present a report to the Metro Council regarding such upgrades.
So moved.
Councilman Rosenberg.
Thank you, Chair Lady. So a few months ago, the Chief Swan and the Office of Emergency Management, the Mayor's Office, the National Weather Service, and I met to discuss the best path forward for our tornado sirens. And we had a good meeting in November, discussed some pieces of information that we would each collect, bring back to figure out what the next step is. Schedules get busy, things drag on, so I suggested this as a method to keep us honest and create a deadline for us to continue our work. We're meeting Thursday, in fact, Thursday morning.
Actually, it's fine, but we had to change it this tomorrow.
Okay. To discuss, the best way forward, and so that's all the resolution does is encourage us to get somewhere and have an answer in 60 days.
Okay.
So move that.
Sure.
So this resolution, all it does is encourage you all to meet. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it asks us to have information ready for council in 60 days, not to make a decision about what to do, but to collect the pertinent information.
Is everybody in agreement with, what the Office of Emergency Management or?
Right. Well, basically, Councilman Rosenberg came to us with a suggestion to change the way we do our siren system. Well, let me be quite honest and straight. We're very happy with the system we got. We've got a blanket that covers Davidson County anytime a tornado hits or we get a warning, but it warns all of Davidson County. So whether if you're in Hermitage or Belmead, and even if the tornado is for Hermitage, everybody hears it. Now, as the Office of Emergency Management and the Fire Department Director, as long as we got a system that works, I'm satisfied with it and very safe. I do understand Councilman Rosenberg's concerns about people being desensitized to hearing the siren sound, so they don't take it as serious. So he has brought forth a suggestion that we do a polygon system or a sector or a quadrant type of a system. So we agreed that, again, that we could sit down and really discuss how much it would cost and the pros and cons of all the systems. So, but we talked about this. I don't want it to come across that Nashville, Davidson County does not have a warning system. We have a great warning system, and I'm very happy with it. But can it be improved and make it better? Well, as long as we got a system that works, I'm happy with it, and I'm more happy than accommodating meeting with Councilman Rosenberg, because he got some valid points, but we're going to talk about it and try to come up with a conclusion, and that's what this is pertaining to find out what is best. I mean, because it's going to cost. There's going to be some costs with it.
Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, well, I got another
Sure.
question.
Yeah,
if you don't
please do.
mind,
That's why I was asking.
Mr. Chairman. Also, it's going to cost more, but so I guess this discussion or what you're planning on doing is trying to determine how much more it's going to cost? And what about the Office of Emergency Management?
Well, I'm also the Director of Office of Emergency Management, but go ahead.
I'm talking, I may be getting ahead of myself. I'm
You're
just
fine.
asking is there more when you have that, I guess called regional or sectional alert system, does that put more human factor or human decision making in the process? What I'm speaking of is referring to like the Hawaii incident, you know.
Right.
So
I mean, honestly, I was drawn into the conversation as our resilience officer to evaluate pros and cons and really kind of mitigating between these two perspectives. And we've done some early analysis and research of other cities, best practices, and then we'll have to weigh, what the cost is and what the effectiveness is. There's really strong evidence on both sides right now. We need to tee it up in a way that it's a community, discussion of resources, but also priority of resources. I mean, if we want to spend the money on this versus other elements of our emergency management system, that's what my job is to help figure that out.
And I want to make the point, too, and I may stand corrected. I think that meeting was Thursday. Am I correct?
You are right.
I'm sorry. I got a lot of things going, so sorry about that. But
9 o'clock Thursday morning.
there you go. But we've since we were supposed to have the meetings actually before this, but we did have scheduling issues where we weren't all able to get together. So, but we took it upon ourselves to actually gather a lot of information that we hadn't had before we met first time. So Thursday, it'll clear up a lot of fogginess as far as the costs involved, but we still got to come to a consensus. Do we want to do this new system? And again, what are the pros and cons with it? At the end of the day, I want our citizens to be safe. We want to make sure that we're doing a great job, and in the system we have, again, it works. But we're always open to suggestions that will improve the system, or if we do have citizens actually desensitized of hearing this siren, we need to address that. And so that's what this meeting will be about. So again, and we're open to any suggestions, but we're going to bring it factual in the price and the cost, and then
Sounds
it'll be up to
good.
you guys.
Sounds good. Councilor Gilmore, did you have
Thank
a
you,
question?
Madam Chair. So I missed it, and you may have already asked. What is the cost now for the system
Well,
that we have?
roughly, right now, and again, it's going to be a little bit over $1 million for the system, because there's a lot of new sirens have to be in place, and then it depends upon which we pick, the polygon versus the quads. There's so many different factors involved right now.
Within the current system
Oh,
that we
the-
have. Yeah, the current system that we have. How much is it?
It's already
About $100,000 a year.
Yeah, it's about 100,000, but it's
I
already,
just want to know how much it is, though.
yeah, but it's already, right, it's about 100,000 a
A year in
Okay.
maintenance and licensing.
Right,
Okay.
so it's already in place, and it's, activated, and again, it's effective, but
And so
when we
the
make
new one would
changes-
be, if you made changes,
Yes.
looking at $1 million, going from 100,000 a year to $1 million a year.
You still have that $100,000 a year. It's just new capital costs to replace that equipment with a different, a more upgraded version that could handle using the polygons.
Okay, thank you.
And we're getting different numbers from different sources, but I asked, this is Charlie Neese, who you all probably know. He's a severe weather expert. He's been a meteorologist here in town for 20 years, and he can talk a little bit about where this came from and where meteorologists as a community are.
Before he does, Councilman Freeman, did you have a
I
question?
did. I just wanted to touch on what, is it Chief? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Chief Swan.
What the Chief said, because just this past Saturday we tested the system, correct? Mm-hmm. And I have a pretty active social media page in my neighborhood, and they're very fond of nitpicking and such like that. But that is one of the biggest complaints I hear. And even this weekend, I read one was like, if they test this every month, are our kids going to be desensitized?
Well, I would disagree with that because of this reason.
I fully.
If you don't test it, then and our test is really like we'll do a growl testing, and then first, what is it, Scott? The first Saturday of the month.
12 noon.
Right, 12 noon. It's done clockwork, and it's done, and we have to do that. But I think the argument about the desensitizing is that if we have a tornado in Hermitage, why should people in Belmead hear that siren? Because it desensitizes.
Right. And that's what I was getting. I was not saying we don't practice and don't test, because even I can tell them, like, look, it's coming at 12.
Right, absolutely.
But at 12:05, I'm going to see it, and it's just going to start populating. Why are we testing? Why, our kids are going to, and at the same time, if it isn't Hermitage,
right,
do the people in Brentwood or the people,
But that's the big debate right now that we're having, again, because one party will say people get desensitized to it, and they start, it's like calling wolf. But then the other side is like, well, listen, that siren is to warn you something is going on, and when you hear it, you're supposed to go get more further information to find out where it's at, what it is. Because again, we can argue, and I know we've got a meteorologist here, about how tornadoes can jump, how quickly they can jump, and all of these things are factors that we factor in, and the argument can be strong on both sides.
So, Councilman Rosenberg, did you want to have Mr. Neese speak?
Please.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate you being here. I do applaud Nashville for having a siren system after the '98 tornado. I know it became a big issue, and so it's amazing that our city has a siren system to begin with. Back a few years ago, the National Weather Service went from warning entire counties, as most of you know, to doing this what's called a polygon base, and that was to increase accuracy and to reduce overwarning. Now, if you look at a map when a tornado warning comes out and the polygon comes out, the polygon is still going to be much larger than the specific area that's affected by the tornado. Most of our tornadoes around here are between about 100 yards wide up to, on the larger ones, about a quarter of a mile wide. The polygons are going to be several miles across. So you're overwarning even with the polygons. But now that the National Weather Service has gone to that polygon system, it does specify parts of the county that are warned. And after April 27th of 2011, and then later May of 2011, when massive tornadoes killed many, many people in Joplin, Missouri, and in Alabama, social scientists did lots of studies to figure out what made people take action and what made people not listen to the sirens. Joplin has a city warning siren, much like Metro does. There were lots of people who ignored the warnings, and because of that, more than 150 people were killed, in part outside of the fact that it was a massive tornado. It was going to kill people anyway. But the number one reason that people did not say, or they said they did not listen to the warnings that came out, because that tornado had a warning. It was well warned, well before it went into town. But the number one reason people did not take action was because they had heard the siren be sounded in the weeks prior to that event in late May of 2011. They had had several tornado warnings. The sirens had gone off. People just knew that was a stormy year that year, and they had lots of tornado warnings. So the day that people needed to pay attention, they didn't, because they had heard the sirens so much. So now we have the technology to be able to decrease the number of people that are in the warnings or that hear the warnings, to increase their accuracy, because the false alarm rate is pretty much the number one reason that people quit listening and paying attention to sirens. A few years ago, they quit listening to weather radios, because weather radios, before they were able to do the county-specific warnings, they would warn for several counties at a time. People quit listening to them. They upgraded the Weather Service weather radio so that they could warn county-specific. Now we're in an age of technology where you can warn even better. The other thing is, when you quit overwarning, people take you more seriously, because the National Weather Service here in Nashville does an amazing job. Almost every tornado that touches down in Middle Tennessee has a warning as or before that touches down. So the warnings are getting more and more accurate. So with more accurate warnings, now we can warn people more accurately and reduce the overwarning so that people take those warnings more seriously when they do hear them. There is no need for people in Brentwood to hear tornado warnings that are on the north side of town. There's no reason for people in Bellevue to have the warnings going off when it's out past the airport going toward Mount Juliet. Now, the other
But
thing...
you still would have that problem of the overwarning.
You will,
It's
but
not
you're
a-
going to decrease it.
Yeah. And
If you stick to that polygon area, then, and so over the coming years, technology is going to get better and better, and they'll continue to decrease the warned areas. We just need to keep up with that so that, because I do tornado warning seminars all across Middle Tennessee.
So I hate to wrap it up here,
Okay.
but we got a lot to
Yeah.
continue. Are there any
Respectfully,
other
this is the
questions?
dialogue we're planning to continue Thursday in the appropriate venues, and we will come back to you and probably have a larger dialogue with the whole council if you're interested in figuring this out.
We look forward to a report.
I had a quick question,
Yes,
and it's like a quick one.
yes,
I just want to
absolutely.
see how your system, if we were to upgrade, or maybe just what interfaces now with the system that we have. So how is what you use affected by what we have?
Well, when the Weather Service upgraded to polygon warnings, we also upgraded our systems at the TV station to warn just for those polygon areas. We also have apps that the station uses to warn people that are just in those polygon areas. So we've done what we can to reduce the false alarm rate to ensure more people take the warnings seriously.
And let me close with this too, and I agree with, especially the National Weather. We got a great National Weather we work closely with, but now we don't think of it as overwarning. When it comes to safety, I mean, I don't think there's such thing as overwarning, but I do understand your point that you're making. But Joplin also had a lot of warnings that year that sort of, right, that we don't run into here. So that's the dialogue that we have, but as stated, we'll get together because again, I just want a system.
We're going to do that. We'll
Yeah,
talk more
yeah.
about that. Are there any other questions from,
I got one
yes,
more.
ma'am?
Can I just hear him say we got a gush of wind coming in? No, I'm just joking.
Yep,
Please don't.
yep. Other than that, are there any other questions?
Appreciate being here.
Do I have a motion?
You already have.
Oh, great. Second. All for?
Yep.
Any against? All right. The Public Safety Bureau Regulated Beverages meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
How you?
We're finished?